Okay, this is tutorial 11.8. It starts on page 707 in your textbook, and it is virtually identical to what you need to do in exercise number 5. So you're going to have to type in the name to search for, and this one's going to search for a description field. So let's just see how this works. I'm going to type in the word jeans, and I'm going to click search, and it pulls up the particular item that has jeans in it. If I want to show all items again, I click on show all items. Now I'm going to type in shirt as an example and hit search, and it pulls up everything that has shirt in it. So if we type in, let me show all items, let me type in cotton shirt and search for a cotton shirt, then it only pulls up one item. So it kind of does this, it'll look for patterns, it'll look for everything that has whatever I type in here, it takes this verbatim, okay? If I were to type in that I wanted to search for anything that had, I'm trying to look at the letter O in it, it should pretty much, whoopsie, search. Then Oxford poplin cotton. I don't know which one didn't have an O in it, but if we show all items, denim jeans did not. And that might have been, well, there's a few more down below here. Parka did not, etc. So this is exactly what you guys are going to be doing. So I'm going to show you how they executed this in this particular project, and then you guys will be doing your own. So you're going to start with your exercise number 1, and then you're going to start from there. So you're going to open that up, and you're going to have a data grid view right here. And so on this particular tutorial 11-8, it shows how to add a new connection, etc., set up the data source data grid view. That's step number 4. And then adjust the size of the form if you need to make sure that everything fits. You know, for example, here, if we don't want to, I wouldn't adjust the size of the form like vertically, because you'll be able to scroll up and down on that. But if you wanted to adjust this size just a little bit so that you can get everything horizontally to fit, you can. But that's just what they're saying there on step number 5. And then it says double click on the product data set in order to change the SQL, which we've seen in the other videos. And then this time they're going to right click on the area that says product table adapter, and then we're going to add a query. Okay. And so it prompts us to choose a query, and now we're going to make a select statement that returns rows. And I kind of showed you how to do that before. We're going to right click. We're going to not preview the data. Right click. Why does it not like this? Don't know why I can't add a query here. It's because it's still running. I've got to shut it off in order to do that. So if I right click and I add a query, there are some different options that we want, but you're going to choose a SQL statement. You're going to want to choose one that returns rows. You're going to go ahead and just leave this as it is. You're going to select everything from the product. Now, yours will have whatever product database that you're working with. I don't think there's anything here that you will have to change. You'll hit next. And then you're going to have to fill in whatever method name would be appropriate for what you need to do in exercise 5. In this particular exercise, they were doing if we take a peek, it was search description. So I might just try something a little bit different. Let me search. I don't know what all my fields were. So if I take a look, so I'm going to say search price. Okay. And then we don't want to return a data table, so we deselect that. So I'm doing an example of a new one here so you guys can see. And then it's going to create a method, search price. Now what happens is if I take a look at this and I configure it, this is what is the select. This is what the selection will do. It's going to select everything from the table. Well, I really don't want to select everything from the table. Let's take a peek at how they did their search description. This is the type of SQL statement we're going to want to write. Select product number, description, units on hand, price from product, which is the name of the table, whatever table you are using. And how would you know that that's that table? If you go to let me hit cancel. How do you know that it's named table? If you go to your data connections, if I open up my window for data sources, and if I open that up, where am I getting stuff from is the product table. So that's where they're talking about that product. That's where they're getting that information from. If we go back and take a look at their code. Oh, okay. Then they do, so when they say from product, that's whatever table that you're using, where description, now description isn't, it has to match the name of the column. Like however this column is named, you need to match that. So I said price. I'm going to copy what they have here. Control C. And then I'm going to go back and change my search price to match that. And what they're doing here with these percents, remember when we looked at the SQL video, the introduction to SQL, these are like wildcard characters. They're going to look for anything that has the value that you type in. Now I'll have to show you how to get that value yet, okay? But they're going to do where the description is like, and then yada yada yada. And actually I probably only need to copy these last two lines. We'll see. I'm going to cancel this because I really don't want to change that one. I'm just looking at that one and I want to configure mine. Searching for the price. So select product on from, and I said I didn't need to copy it all. So they said from product, where not description, but I want to look at the price. And this could blow up in my face, but it'll be good for you to see what it might be like. And then the value that's going to come in is going to be, that's just a placeholder. That's a parameter. So I'm going to leave that as is. And I am going to also delete the from DBO product because I don't need the whole thing. I'm doing a particular, I think that's what I need. So I'm going to click next. If I don't have a valid SQL, it's going to, this right here would blow up on me. For example, if I go back and let me just, get rid of a plus sign in here. And I say next, and I say next, and it tells me I got a warning. It says where your clause % is unable to parse the query text. These are very cryptic error messages. They're really hard to kind of debug until you start to get used to them. So try to copy things as much as you can, like this. And then I'm going to just click finish because I'm pretty sure that that's good. So now I have search by price. So here's the deal. If I go back to my form and I look at the designer, what I had done before, or what they had done, was I think a button that would be to search according to description. Oh, they actually had a text field here. Okay, so what you're going to need to do, and they tell you to add a text box. I'm not going to probably do everything. My text box, don't know where it went, but what we're going to want to do, there it is. That text box is going to be for me to fill in the price. And then the show all items is going to just stay. Alright, so this one's going to be a showing the price. If you take a look, they actually made this form fairly decent because they added this little, oh, what do I want to say? This has a name. A little box, container, so to speak. And so if you wanted to add one of those containers, it actually would not be a bad idea, because we're also going to have to add a button. If I scroll down and find those containers, I believe we just want a group box. And we're going to put things inside a group box. So I'm going to put this text box inside there. I'm going to move group box 2 over here. I'm going to increase the size of this form a little bit. It's not going to look real great. So, and then I'm going to need a button, yada, 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 in order to get this to work. So I'm going to be searching by, on this one is going to be by price. And so if I name my button, I'm going to just click search on it. I am not doing everything as I should just because of time and because I'm really tired. So search and then name of the group box. So the group box text here would be search price, which is why I'm just leaving my button name search, because the group box is going to have search price. So not real pretty, but this is what it's going to be. So now how do I code this? Well, I'm going to go behind the scenes. We're going to look at the code, and I'm getting really tired of that error message. Here we go. I need to steal or copy what they did on their search button. So I have their search button click. I suppose it probably wasn't, oh, I didn't rename my button, so I suppose that's a good thing, because I should have renamed it like search price button, something like that. So copy what they did there, paste what we did here. But if I do this, it's going to this product table adapter.search description, and it's going to search the product and then search text box.text. So that's going to take whatever's in that text box. So my text box is something different. Remember what I named my text box? I don't. So I have to go back and look. I think it was price. So that value that gets sent in nope, not price. I might not have renamed it. So I'm going to go back and look. So nope, no name on it. Let's try to rename it. So that's going to be a price text box that we're going to enter there. Go back to my code. And now we're going to enter price text box.txt. So that's going to go into my search description. Now where did search description come from? It came from the name of that method right here. Search DESC. So I have to change search description to search price. So if I go back to the code, instead of search DESC, I need to change that to search price, and then it's going to take whatever product that is from the text box. Now, it is not liking something here. Argument 2 cannot convert from string to a decimal. So it's expecting a decimal because I am searching the price. So I'm going to have to convert this text to a decimal. So I don't know if I can just cast it. And I should do some type of arrow chopping, etc. in order to do that. Actually, what I'm going to probably have to do is the following. And I'm going to have to make a decimal variable, and it's going to be the price to search, and that's going to need to be decimal.parse price text box.txt, and I'm not sure if I've got my syntax correct, and then we can use that variable right here. I'm hoping price to search in order to, now I might have been able to do the parsing right inside there, but I kind of like this a little bit better. Alright, I have no idea if this is going to work. This is what's going to happen to you guys. It might blow up in your face, but we'll find out, or it might work. We don't know. So, crossing my fingers that it's going to work. If I search for a price, let's search for 38.5. and I click search, it blows up on me. It says there's an unhandled exception. It cannot convert a character value to money. The char value has incorrect syntax. So it is not liking things because I did not convert things correctly, and or because it really needs to have a character here in order to search. So because it says cannot convert a char value to money. The char value has incorrect syntax. I don't know which one's the char value. If I click on view details, it is throwing an exception because it cannot convert the value. Type system, and what I'm not sure. So apparently I can't send in. Oh, okay, hold on. So let me think a second. I'm going to create a string. Price string. Actually, I might be able to do it this way. Dot to string. Now you might think this is kind of weird, but let's see what happens. Don't know what's going to happen. Sorry, video's getting a little long, but this is what's going to happen. Whoopsie. Stop. Stop executing the code. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, it doesn't like that. It cannot convert string to decimal. Da 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 da. Let me think. Okay, I went and did some research, and what has to happen, what was happening in this line of code, let's actually look at the code here in the form, is we were getting an error message about casting, that it couldn't take this value and convert it to a decimal. And what's happening is SQL basically compares strings to strings. Like, it was really confused on what we were trying to compare. So I started to try to change this text box value to a decimal, but that failed. And after much searching and looking on Stack Overflow, etc., it just becomes more obvious that, to me, that we need to compare a string to a string is basically what's happening. And so we don't want to convert to a decimal. This actually goes in as a string, because if we take a look at our query, the way that it's set up, the value that we type in is going to get put inside the single quotes, and it's going to be like a wildcard, so it's percent quote, quote, percent, etc. And so it's actually going to change whatever we type in as a decimal there is going to come in as a string. So on the other hand, what has to happen is our column that we're looking at, price, is a decimal column, and that's where the conflict is happening. It was comparing a decimal to a string. So what we have to do on the reverse side of this is change the price to a character or a string temporarily, is what is going to happen. So therefore we compare a string with a string is what's going to happen. So how do you cast a decimal to a character? The syntax looks like this. It's cast, C-A-S-T, parens price as char 10, and a char 10 will give us enough characters to compare the price. So that's what we had to do. That solution was posted somewhere here on, I got here via Stack Overflow somehow, I think, but this one's just an article on converting using the cast. And so the cast actually can be used in quite a few different places. Besides what I'm talking about. For example, you can cast from a date to a timestamp. Those are two different data types when you're working with Visual C#. And if you take the Advanced C# class, you'll run into that. So let's go back and see if this works, where we are now comparing a string with a string. I've got an OK on my SQL combination. So if we click Start, and we type in a price that's on the list, and so I'm just going to type in the number 32. So this isn't perfect because it is going to pick up the 32. If I happen to type in 95 though, it's going to pick up everything that has like 95 cents in it. But if I type in, let's say 39.95, search for anything with that particular price, it then seems to be working. Okay, so you guys are going to be doing the same thing, except you're going to be inputting. You're not going to have to worry about casting from a decimal to a string, etc. You're going to be comparing a string with a string. So your search string that you're going to use is going to look more like this search description. So if I take a look at, let's stop execution. If I take a look at the search description here, yours is going to look very similar to this. You could actually probably copy most of that code. And when you do yours, excuse me, getting tired. Now, last but not least is the code inside. And if you take a look at tutorial 8, it actually shows you like word for word what to type in for the product adapters here. So you have a search button and a show all button. Your show all button is going to look exactly like this, except you need to use your data set. So this says product dataset dot product. So that's the name of the data set, and then the dot product is the table. So you will have to use your data set here, and you'll have to use the table that you're using after that data set. But this product table adapter dot fill should be one that's kind of built in. You don't have to do anything besides that. And when you start to type that out, the IntelliSense will kick in like this dot product, and it'll bring up lots of things, but you want table adapter. And so table adapter, and then dot fill must be a built-in command, and then you tell it what to fill it with. And so you have to say this just refers to the current project, and then you have to tell it the database, and then you have to tell it the individual table. So that's what yours is going to look like. And same thing up here. It's going to be this dot product table adapter dot, and then whatever you named your method, parens, and then the argument is going to be the table the dataset dot table, and then you're going to have whatever you have for your search box. It'll look very similar to those lines of code right there. Alright, really long video, sorry about that, but it doesn't hurt to go over some of that stuff, and I'm just too tired to go back and remake it in a shorter version. So you're stuck with it. Good luck on that last project. I think you guys will get it if you actually watch the video.